Hi, welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Bok Brack for short. I'm Edward Box. So I've got a random review today. So I'm going to be looking at a kind of real cult power metal album from the 80s. This is from 1986 and it's by the Seattle band Fifth Angel. So Fifth Angel were formed in 1983 in Seattle, same kind of time as Queensryche. They recorded a 4-track demo, sent it to over 100 labels, and Mike Varney of Shrapnel Records signed them up and paid for them to record 5 additional tracks. So this album's actually a mixture of the original demos and these 5 new tracks. So sound-wise, Fifth Angel are very much in, like Queensryche, they're in the Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Dio mould, and they've got a good sound. This is an album I heard when I was younger. It was got a great review in Kerrang. I borrowed it or got a copy on tape off a guy at school, a guy called John Hayhurst, who was in my former school, and he was into metal, but he liked different things to me, so it was quite interesting. I could check out some different stuff. So at the time I quite liked it, but not enough to sort of go any further. But one of the songs in particular stuck in my mind, So it's an album that's always kind of been there, and then kind of recently I checked out online and thought, actually, this is a really good album of its time. So I bought a copy. So let's go into it. So on vocals, you've got Ted Pilot. So Ted Pilot is now a dentist, apparently. He's a really good singer. He's more from the Dio mold, but not histrionic. He can do screams. But he sings like a guy who knows how to save and preserve his voice. And it gives the band a more mature sound. His approach is kind of sensible metal singing. James Bird is on lead guitar and vocals. Now, you may be aware of James Bird. He's done solo album recordings, very much in the neoclassical style. And Ed Archer's on rhythm guitar, but I'm imagining he does some of the harmony soloing as well. Really good. The guitars on this are tight. Everything's well recorded. The solos are well structured. And you got Ken Mary on drums. So Ken Mary went on to bigger and better things, House of Lords and Alice Cooper. Very good drummer. Can't remember some bass. Ed Archer does some bass on this, and Randy Hansen does some bass. I forget who they got on bass later on. But what's interesting is Terry Date produced this. So whether he did the 5 other tracks, maybe remixed the demo tracks, I don't know. So obviously, Terry Date from the Dream Theater debut album, Pantera. What's different with this is it doesn't sound like those albums. I mean, it sounds like a low budget recording, but it's got a bit more clarity. This is a big cut above your usual Shrapnel Productions. The guitars are tight. The spread of the sound's good. The drums are those big drum sounds you get in the 80s, but again, just staying on the side of sensible. So it's got a lot more clarity. So it opens with In the Fallout. This is a typical up-tempo opening metal number for the album. What you notice straight away is all the elements I've spoken about, but it's got a really catchy chorus, and I think that's the thing. Typically this band, they're putting the song title in the chorus. They're doing heavy music, but it's got hooks. Then you got Shout It Out, which is a kind of slower, kind of stompy tempo. Again, Shout It Out, the chorus, pretty cheesy, but it works really well. Then the 3rd track, Call Out the Warning. I think this might be the best, or one of the best tracks in the album. This has got a really good chorus, and again, Call Out the Warning. Nice kind of Queensryche reference there. It's only 3 minutes 34. Very good. Then you got Fifth Angel, which is the name of the band. That's the title track of the album, I suppose, self-titled debut. Really good again. Down, down, da, da, down, down. It's got a nice staccato riff. Dramatic verse, kind of, one of those verses where it breaks down and the singing, like Heaven and Hell, really. And Ted Pilot, he's giving it all the drama. I think they had some Christian influence. I think Fifth Angel was a Christian reference. I think the band might be Christians, which may have, maybe confused the audience. That can be a difficult thing for metal bands at that time. Unless you get a whole hog like Stryper, you can get kind of put in that bracket when you're not really kind of overtly putting it out there. But Fifth Angel's a great track. And then it finished with Wings of Destiny, and this was the track I always remembered from a time when I first heard the album. This is a typical sort of epic track that finishes side 1. Again, it's only 4 minutes and 34, so I think that's the other thing about the album. Like Queensryche, when they do catchy songs, these songs are really well arranged. They're not right songs, they're not arranged them. I'm not sure which songs were on the original demo. If you listen to the different difference in sound, you could probably spot it. I haven't actually made a note of that, but you know, they've arrived kind of fully formed, really. Side 2 on the original vinyl opened with The Night, which is another like sort of high tempo metal. No, it's not. I'm talking rubbish. No, it is. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember it. And then Only the Strong Survive. Actually, sorry, I have to correct myself. No, The Night and Only the Strong Survive. These are the 2 filler tracks. They open side 2. Sorry. They're okay. You know, they're not bad. They don't dip below big levels. So they're kind of 6 out of 10 tracks. But the next track, track 8, Cry Out the Fools. This is excellent. I think this is one of the best tracks on the album. Really good chorus. Again, good harmonies on the chorus. Great vocals, good guitars and so on. And then Fade to Flames is more in a typical power metal ballad style, but it's decent. I think this album's an 8 out of 10. I think, you know, it's well worth checking out. So the story of Fifth Angel, what happened with this was, this came out in '86, then they got signed to Epic and it got re-released in 1988. By then, James Bird had left. I'm not sure why. There must have been differences, which seems a shame. And they did their own Time Will Tell. And this probably wasn't as well received as the Fifth Angel album. I think listening to it, this is more in the style of a band like Dokken. It's more in the style of that kind of music at the time. So it's losing that sort of power metal thing a bit. However, it is good. It's Terry Brown and Rush produces it. They got on a guitarist called Kendall Birchall on guitar, and he does an excellent job. I actually prefer his soloing to James Bird. Very good. It's got a cover of Lights Out by UFO, which is pretty good. But if you listen to the track titles, Cathedral, Midnight Love, you know, very more kind of glam metal title, Broken Dreams, We Rule, Feel the Heat and so on. They are cheesy, but the songs are catchy, and again, I would check this album out. I do think the first one's better. But this didn't do anything for them. And like a lot of bands, you know, they got kind of lost in the wash. If you actually look at the pictures of them this time, you know, they don't really have an identity. You know, they're dressed in sort of second string, dodgy leather, glammy gear. It's very difficult by this point to stand out. You know, it's amazing that Queensryche really, when they came out in 83, 84, they got a good run to being popular. A band like Fifth Angel, you know, as well at the end of the 80s, by the time they put out the album, you know, things like Iron Maiden, traditional metal like Judas Priest, are selling as well, whereas Queensryche have developed their sound with things like Operation Mindcrime, and of course Empire, going more commercial with that. Okay, so that's Fifth Angel's debut album. They've reformed recently. Their new album sounds really good, actually, what I've heard of it, so well worth checking out. But if you're interested in checking out some sort of cult Seattle-based power American metal, Fifth Angel's debut album is well worth, you know, a look. Okay, so remember, share and subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.